was giving it serious consideration. I was hoping that that would be the case, but instead he has played something a little bit more boring, I suppose.
The team deck.
Yeah.
Johnathan almost always plays control decks. He loves control decks.
I've never seen him play a creature on turn 1 my entire life. Ever. I've never seen him get aggressive before. There's a Plains and a favorite hot play. Yeah, Sukenik's deck in Modern is pretty sweet.
The 4-color deck.
Yeah, he loves that deck. It's like a mystical teachings kind of control deck, base Jeskai.
It's just all sweet, powerful cards.
Made the top 8 with it in Season 1. Our first Modern Open in Baltimore. That was won by?
Gerard Fabiano.
Correct. Very good. Very good. I got to test that knowledge, man.
Jeff Hoagland also in the top 8 of that event.
Correct. Todd Anderson, too.
Yep.
Full circle. Here we go.
Now we are back here.
There's a Hero of Aroas. Todd going to sacrifice his Windswept Heath, get a basic Plains, get in for one with that favorite hot plate. So the creatures are here. Now the question is, does he have the auras or the Defiant Strikes to make him large? Sukenik will untap that Tranquil Cove and draw a card.
I have my concerns about this matchup from Johnathan's side of the table. One of the paths for stabilization here is Dromoka's Command, but that does not work as easily against the banned style decks because Thopter Spy Network very vulnerable to Dromoka's Command.
Yep. Last breath, he'll take care of Hero of Aroas. Anderson will gain some life in that exchange. He'll take a draw. Defiant Strike is what he's found. He'll start by playing Defiant Strike. That'll trigger Heroic and also have Todd draw a card. He'll come across here for 3 points of damage. Sukenik's going to go down to 17. Anderson with an island. Now Seeker of the Way. Pass that turn back over to Sukenik. Sukenik will take a draw step here. We'll see what Johnathan's got for his third turn of the game. Swift Reckoning. Flooded Strand, pass the turn back. So Sukenik has done a nice job of controlling Anderson in the early stages of this game.
The problem is that I believe Todd's last spell is this.
It's a good one to have in Treasure Cruise, and that was the 4th card placed in the graveyard as well. So Anderson will draw 3 cards now, also trigger Prowess on the Seeker of the Way. Come across here for 3 points of damage, gain 3 life. It'll be 14 to 25 here in just a moment. And over to Sukenik we go. Flooded Strand the draw here for Johnathan.
The main deck Treasure Cruise is very helpful for this kind of matchup. A lot of heroic decks struggle when their first couple threats are answered by removal spells, but Todd can be pretty aggressive tapping out for threats, even leaving them vulnerable to things like Swift Reckoning and Last Breath, because with Treasure Cruise, you're happy playing that kind of game.
Sukenik has land number 4. It's the Flooded Strand he drew this turn. He'll sacrifice 2 of those. Go down to 12. Looks like maybe an island and a Plains. Might be double island. We'll see. There are the islands. And it'll be a Hangerback Walker for 2.
The mystery has been revealed. It's Jeff's deck.
It is Jeff's deck.
Maybe you weren't sure before. It's just a blue-white control deck with Swift Reckoning and Last Breath, but now we know for sure.
There's Hangerback Walker. This card that makes that noise, first of all.
Hanging back.
Yep, second.
Yes, you were saying.
You all good?
Yeah.
You all good?
I wasn't the one who paused.
It was actually pretty impressive last weekend. Much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that card seemed pretty sweet. It's a little slow, but assuming you're defending yourself with other things, you can grow it, sit back, it becomes hard to attack, and it pairs very nicely with end hostilities because you have a board left over after the fact.
It's weird in that it's like kind of overcosted in all areas. But,
right.
You know, they can't, it's just, it's still fine. It was surprising actually how good it was. It'll probably be good right now, too. Seeker of the Way now has an Ordeal of Thassa on it.
If John has land number 5 and end hostilities, it's awesome here.
Yeah. here come the beatdowns. You saw Monastery Mentor pre-combat. That's why there's a Monk token on the battlefield. Jacob Wilson Monk token, our Season 1 Invitational Champion. Of course, he'll be headed to the Players' Championship later this year. Sukenik will draw. Picked up a copy of Last Breath.
Not a bad time for that card.
Yeah, it's not bad. Takes care of the Monastery Mentor. Here's an Artificer's Epiphany. This allows Sukenik to draw 2, and since he has an artifact on the battlefield, doesn't have to discard. The question is, did he find land? He did not.
Yeah, I think he was trying to find land number 5, which he needs anyway.
Yep.
Rolled the dice, but fortunately for him, not the outcome he was looking for. I don't mind it. He's got Elspeth in hand. He's got something to play for. He needs to make his land drops.
Here comes Anderson into the red zone with the Heroic deck. Seeker the way now, 4-4. Hanging Rack Walker's going to grow. That means 3 Thopters are going to be spit out now.
No longer hanging back.
No. Follow up here for Anderson. Wow, he's really shoving in.
Just completely unabashed about end hostilities, I guess.
That's a little surprising. I guess the thought process here is I'm not going to be able to win post end hostilities, maybe?
That is part of it. He also just needs to be able to beat these 3 tokens in play.
Yeah.
He doesn't want these tokens to amount to 2 turns of Johnathan drawing stuff, so.
That's why you see Todd move all in.
Todd is a fast player, and he errs on the side of aggression.
2 things I love.
Yeah.
I would also describe him as decisive. He finds a line that he likes, boom, I'm doing that.
It's most impressive watching him play Modern, watching him navigate the counterspell mirror matches where he moves very fluidly.
Let's see what's next here for Sukenik. He does have a copy of Last Breath in hand. 3 Thopters on defense. Trying to find some lands to go longer into this game. Also has a copy of Hanging Rack Walker to block with. Looks like he'll start by casting that. There's Shrink Cove up to 6. And is it Last Breath time? Looks like the answer is no. He's going to pick his spot with this. Could be a little dangerous.
Especially with Todd about to untap and draw 2 cards straight away from the ordeal.
Looks like Valorous Stance may have been the draw. Anderson's coming in with everybody. Ordeal trigger on the stack. Sukenik with that Last Breath, just looking to figure out who he wants to target with it. It looks like Monastery Mentor, perhaps. And Anderson's going to go in the tank here.
Another exiling effect here. So not a lot to be done with the Valorous Stance in terms of protecting the Mentor.
Now Ordeal will break. 2 cards coming here for Anderson. Flooded Strand is 1. God's Willing is 2. Blocker's coming. Looks like Seeker of the Ways will be chump blocked along with the Monk token from Monastery Mentor. Defiant Strike. That'll go on Hero of Heroes. That'll also make the Monk token into a 2/2 because of Prowess. Yeah, I suppose Seeker of the Ways will get Prowess and they'll get their lifelink and all that stuff. Not that lifelink matters all that much on Todd's side of the board from Sukenik's standpoint, but the life total will certainly raise here.
And that's why you saw John there go ahead and block the Hero of Heroes. It was the non-prowess threat, and he was worried about getting killed by just a chain of spells.
Darksteel Citadel the draw. Is it Elspeth time? It is.
That's 4 blockers.
Yep.
I'm counting 4 attackers.
You're counting correct.
Now they're all lethal.
God's willing to draw, but there's an artifact on the table.
Right, that does not help for the purposes of punching through lethal this turn.
Mm-hmm. Beatdowns. Blockers. Damage. Straightforward stuff. Clear the board. Seeker the way after combat. Can Anderson make his way through Elspeth? Valor stands in God's willing. The card's left behind. Sukenik looking to stabilize. He'll draw a card. Another Darksteel Citadel. Has a dissolve in hand too.
This is the first time that Johnathan's gotten to his turn with like anything resembling stability in the game.
Yep.
And now he's got some tools to work with in hand. Dissolve. Very nice protecting himself here. He's still going to be on chump blocking detail for a while, but there's a path now.
And there's Artificer's Epiphany. 2 cards coming. Elspeth, one of them. Temple of Enlightenment will be the land. Take a look at that top card. Looks like it's headed to the bottom pretty quickly here for Johnathan. And dissolve at the ready. So we go back to Anderson. He'll draw a card. Gets a copy of Windswept Heath. Everybody's coming in, so Sukenik's going to have to block them all as they're all lethal attackers. Everything will die. Anderson will just pass the turn back. Sukenik's got to be able to produce a 4th blocker yet again. Clash of Wills was the draw. And it does not appear that he can do that. I suppose he could he can activate Elspeth and then play the other Elspeth.
Another problem at this point is now he's out of artifact blockers, and so God's willing is a big concern.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's Darksteel Citadel. Elspeth will tick up. Yeah, I think Sukenik's hand is forced here to play the other Elspeth and hope he doesn't die. But that seems relatively unlikely. 3 more soldiers coming. Anderson will untap. On the upkeep, he'll cast God's Willing, which is smart, just in case Scry works its way into the equation. He wants to be able to control his draw set the best he can. Top card will go to the bottom.
And this is so nice doing it right now because it also means Swift Reckoning doesn't work.
Yep. Really smart.
Yep. If he does it inside of combat, then he can get blown out in response by Swift Reckoning.
Yep. There's no deal with Thassa. That'll trigger prowess yet again. Everybody's coming in. Anderson will draw 2 cards. And that is going to do it for this game. Todd Anderson's going to win game number 1 here over Johnathan Sukenik. Van Heroic up a game over Blue-White Control. As we get ready to take a look at the sideboards, and we will start with Johnathan and his take on Jeff Hoagland's deck.
A Secure the Waste and End Hostilities, a Faded Retribution, 2 copies of Last Breath, 2 copies of Valorous Dance, 2 copies of Banishing Light, 2 copies of Stratus Dancer, 2 copies of Negate, 2 copies of Displacement Wave. Great options here. I can get behind the Displacement Wave, Negate, Banishing Light, Valorous Dance, Last Breath, and Hostilities, and Faded Retribution. I want to speed the deck up a little bit. There's some clunky ones in here, and I'm not sure that you really need something like Elspeth, for example, to win the game. It's a kind of a risky thing to tap out for. Clash of Wills may not be very efficient in this kind of matchup because Todd plays a much more mana-efficient game than Johnathan does, so there's some options to take out here, and a lot of good options in the sideboard.
For Todd, 2 Ordeal of Heliod, a Laguna Band Trailblazer, a Triton Tactics, 2 Disdainful Stroke, a Stratus Dancer and Island, 2 Treasure Cruise, 2 Aqua's Form, and 3 copies of Encase and Ice.
Just the anti-control package here. I think you want the 2 copies of Treasure Cruise, the 2 copies of Disdainful Stroke, and the Stratus Dancer. I think that Todd will likely leave in the Dramoka's commands, even though they're typically bad in this matchup, because if he assumes that this is Jeff Hoagland's deck, then he knows that Thopter Spy Network is in the deck, and it's a concerning card.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. And we will talk about the Star City Games game night promotion. That's been very popular thanks to you guys at home. You may have seen the creature collection for summer a little bit earlier, and that has a lot to do with this fella right here.
Yeah, this is the Piglet. Game night stores can run any day of the week, any format. Just get players in your store for some fun and friendly magic. July is winding down, so if you want to get the Piglet, head over to starcitygames.com/game night. Find the game night closest to you. This is the August kit coming up here, the Monkey. Too late to get signed up for August, but if you are looking to get signed up for September, we got the Kraken here as well. Head over to starcitygames.com/game night or contact your Star City Games organized play representative for more information.
All part of our summer collection now as well. So the play mat and, of course, sleeves, and we'll go over that a little bit more over the course of this weekend. But for now, we do turn back to the match between Todd Aronson and Johnathan Sukenik. And Todd Aronson is a player most people are familiar with now. A lot of Open Series success in his career. Former Invitational champion. A lot of Grand Prix top eights, a lot of Open Series top eights as well.
Yep. Originally from Alabama, has been grinding Magic for a very, very long time. Married to Callie Anderson, who works in our events for Star City Games, and the self-proclaimed best NFL Blitz player ever. He has challenged me in person.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
So I played a little bit. I'm sure Todd is going to dust me.
I was never particularly into that game.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to try to be like an NBA Jam for football, but it was just I never found it to be as good.
It's a fun way to kill some time, but I was never super competitive about it. Todd asked me what my favorite plays were, which is a level of seriousness about NFL Blitz that I never really had.
I don't know, the A button?
Right.
Is that a play?
I liked running and jumping at the same time. That was pretty powerful.
Combo.
My games that I played.
Yeah. He's also a big Mortal Kombat fan right now too. Him and the boss Tom Ross, they battle a lot in Roanoke.
If anything derails the success that the Roanoke crew is having. If we look back, if we have a Where Are They Now VH1 style about the crew that is down there right now.
I can only hope.
They're going to say, and then it'll be Brad Nelson in some interview, and he'll say something like, and then they got Mortal Kombat, and there'll be dramatic music, and they're going to cut to break, and then they'll come back, and they're going to talk about all the Mortal Kombat that got played.
Yep. Can we get that special going, or?
Yeah. Well, we got to wait until the wheels fall off, you know?
Sure. I understand. NFL Blitz, that was like late 90s, I think.
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
I don't know if that was pre-GoldenEye or post-GoldenEye. Pre-GoldenEye?
Yeah, I played a lot more GoldenEye in high school than NFL Blitz.
Okay.
Played more NFL Blitz in my kind of very brief college years.
Sure.
Year, 9 months,
Yeah.
whatever.
Who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting?
Who's even counting? Both these players will take a look at their opening hand. So Sukenik will be on the play. And Anderson's going to send it back. And both these players did top 8 our Modern Open during Season 1 of the Open Series. That was won by Gerard Fabiano when we were in Baltimore. So, both players pretty familiar with each other. Sukenik loves the control strategy. Anderson, he dabbles.
Yeah. I would say he's not quite as fluid as Brad is. Brad has he's never committed to any particular deck.
Anyone as fluid as Brad is?
But Todd's up there. He just plays a lot and plays what he feels is the best deck.
He's liked Heroic for a little while now, so given Heroic's finish last weekend in the hands of Logan Mize with the white-blue version, not too surprising to see more players playing it this weekend. It did seem very well positioned last weekend.
Definitely good against the green decks.
Yeah. A little bit worse against this style of deck, but you do have some tools to fight back. Got some counter magic, got some treasure cruises. Anderson going to play a favorite hoplite to start things off. You may have noticed he does have a copy of Aqueous Form in his hand.
Well, Jeff's deck does a lot of blocking.
Yeah.
Between this card, Elspeth, Thopter Spy Network, typically a card you board out against control, but given the style of deck here, how much of the strategy is about blocking, I think it's fine to leave in.
Todd will draw. And there's a Defiant Strike. Favorite hoplite getting a little bit bigger. Here are the beatdowns. Does he have land number 2? Nope. Something that happens a decent amount with this deck. Does play a low land count. Oh, not hanging back.
No more of that.
I like this. Now here's Artificer's Epiphany.
It's great because I don't think I saw Jeff attack with the hanger back walker a single time in Chicago last week.
No.
Look at it go.
Sukenik just coming in.
Defense, offense, does it all.
Both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Sukenik can't help but smile. Here comes Anderson.
Probably because that's the second Artificer's Epiphany he's played at sorcery speed of the match.
Sure.
Sort of defeats the purpose, but again, who's really counting?
Well, it's that flexibility.
Yeah.
That's why it's a great card. Here's the Spy Network. And Anderson we go. He'll draw. There's land 2.
All right.
It's a bit of a painful one in Mana Confluence. Todd will take one, go down to 17. There's an Ordeal. Trigger the Heroic. Trigger the Ordeal. Peel 2 cards. See if Johnathan has any interest in blocking. Looks like the answer is no. Wants to get that Spy Network online and be able to block for the future. So here comes a Thopter. And now Sukenik will draw. Does have a copy of End Hostilities in hand and just drew a copy of Valor Stance.
And that's probably what Jonathan's playing for here, is just muck up the works enough where Todd has to overextend it in Hostilities, and then that should end the game. In the meantime, just hang back. Just going to no-sell it. Hang back. Hanger back, Walker. Come on, man.
I'm
You gotta meet me halfway.
I'm still no-selling that. Sorry. It's not personal, so don't take it that way.
No, it's fine.
I'd rather just say anything else.
It's hanging back.
Do you want me to make a hanger-back girl joke in reference to the Gwen Stefani song, Hollaback Girl?
No, because it's 2015.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of past that.
All right, fair enough. Flood Stranding will be sacrificed. Plains or Island on the way here. It'll be an island here. Anderson down to 16, so Sukenik at 10. But doing a nice job of stabilizing. That Valor Stance was certainly helpful to get the favorite Hoplite off the battlefield. Thopter here as well. And soon enough, Sukenik will be able to actually start drawing some cards. Anderson with Aqueous Form. Laguna Band Trailblazer is heating up.
Yeah, there's creatures I like to make unblockable. Typically, they're 0/4s. That's the stat range I'm looking to pair with unblockable.
It's a 1/5 now.
Now 1/5.
Okay. Let's leave old Trailblazer alone. Just really getting revved up.
Mm-hmm. It's a slow burn.
It's got the slowest burn, actually. Well, I guess Char Rumbler is the slowest burn.
Yeah, that's the negative burn.
Yeah.
That's a hit. That's a heat because the burn's It's a cool because the burn's negative. Ooh, he's just going off right now. More pump spells for a 0-power creature. Not just the one.
I get a little aggressive there. All right. Gonna use Triton Tactics. Oh yeah, so that's the definition of offense-defense right there.
That's how you draw it up.
So 2 damage is gonna come across.
It is a really tough slog pumping that thing, I gotta say.
It's not always pretty with Heroic. Sukenik will draw. Copy of Tranquil Cove. He'll come in here with just a Thopter. Draw a card from the Spy Network. Clash of Wills the draw. Tranquil Cove will bring Sukenik up to 9. Passing it. Anderson's drawing. Looks like he's starting with Defiant Strike. Sukenik does have Clash of Wills for 3 here. Yep, that's going to resolve. Draw a card. Manic Influence to draw. No more mana issues, outside of it being a little bit painful.
These are getting a little bit awkward here for John because he can't block this thing. And if this induces end hostilities on its own, then something like a Johnny's Presence or Disdainful Stroke is going to beat him.
Here's Treasure Cruise. That's going to get countered by Clash of Wills. Right now, the Good Man Trailblazer, 4-power creature. 3 counters on it from just heroic triggers, then 1 kind of floating +1/+0 from Defiant Strike. In for 4. A little scry action here for Anderson from the Aqua's form trigger. That card's going to stay on top, apparently. Back to Sukenik we go. He'll get another Thopter from the Spy Network. And he'll draw a card for the turn. But he is in some trouble. Valorous Stance to draw.
And huge draw here. Something that can actually kill the Trailblazer.
Not a bad start. It's time for the beatdowns. Before, Sukenik will draw. Remember with the Spy Network, of course, it's not Binding of Thassa. I think that's important.
It just looks, did you deal combat damage with an artifact creature?
Draw 1 card.
Right.
And hostilities. Show you Johnny's Presence. Save my creature.
All he needs is a point.
Yeah. And we know he's got God's Willing in hand, so that point is there. Now, Sukenik will get to leave some Thopters behind because of Hangerback Walker. Though, actually, that's notable. The Aqua's form leaves because of the text on hostilities,
yeah.
which
weird.
We've never seen that come
up. They blew
up.
up an enchantment on a creature, but not the creature. That's the first time that's ever happened. Okay.
So that weirdly matters.
Wow, all right.
Destroy all creatures and permanents, actually, because this is supposed to get around
Bestow.
Yeah.
Right, but oddly enough here, it's blowing up an Aqueous form. And that's really, really good news for Johnathan. Now, this Enthopter Spy Network is going to go to work.
Yeah.
I mean, he can block. Wow, that is the first time we've seen that come up.
Ever. Todd will draw. Another copy of God's Willing, not what the doctor ordered.
Yeah. I mean, these God's Willings do very, very little now.
Yep.
Johnathan can block here. He gets a token every turn, so he gets to keep hitting.
Darksteel Citadel to draw.
Weird.
Citadel is actually really important this turn, too, because what I think with Sukenik would probably have to do is say no attacks and hang back on defense, and then you kill both the artifacts and he doesn't have an artifact anymore. But because he draws Citadel, now he can keep pumping out artifacts. And now here's a dig through time. So now this game is really changing. Sukenik going to take a look at the top 7, take 2 with him. That text that rarely comes up on end hostilities just mattered. See if Sukenik can find something nice here.
The game now firmly in his control. You know, he's still at 5, facing down 2 attackers, but he's got a little bit of breathing room now.
All those cards at the bottom. He's found 2 he's happy with. Yeah, it feels like he's really taking control of this game.
Things can still go wrong, but he's in a very good position.
Valor Stance. There's God's Willing. Just to kind of want to fight back with Dissolve, I guess, is the question. because he might. So Trailblazers are going to get its counter from Heroic, but that doesn't mean God's Willing is resolved yet. That's what's still in question here.
With another God's Willing in hand, if Johnathan picks a fight here, he could get himself killed by another Aqueous form.
Something here for Johnathan is he doesn't even know how many Todd has access to in his deck.
No.
You know, if this was Logan Meister's deck from last week, you know he's got 4, but you don't actually know how many he's got. Dissolve's going to counter God's Willing. Todd says, you scry, because I have another God's Willing in my hand, and I want to save my creature.
This play from Johnathan was really good unless this was exactly Todd's hand. Now he's at risk of getting killed. Because if he gets the Trailblazer off the table, even if Todd finds Aqueous form, it doesn't matter because the creature's not large enough to kill him this turn. So
that card goes to the bottom very quickly. Anderson will have the opportunity to untap here in just a moment. I would be surprised if Sukenik attacked.
Yeah, he looks like he's committed to a double chump block now. Because he's hanging it back.
Because then he dies to a card like Jamoka's Command, too.
Yeah, dies to a lot of things.
Temple of Plenty was a draw. That's not what the doctor ordered. There are worse lands to draw because that one scries. There are the chump blocks. There is the Temple. Little scry. Bottom shelf real quick. We go back to Sukenik. He'll get a Thopter because he has Darksail Citadel on the battlefield. Draws a copy of Tranquil Cove, and there's Fated Retribution right away. Can't cast it fast enough. If we didn't have control of the game before, he certainly has it now. We'll also get to scry too. Both those cards are going to go to the bottom. We go back to Todd Anderson. For Todd, it's about time to draw a Treasure Cruise if he wants to get back into this game. And it's not a Treasure Cruise, and that is going to do it. Very impressive comeback there from Johnathan Sukenik. We're getting ready for game number 3 now.
That was, the oddness there on End Hostilities came up. As you said, a card, I'm sure, designed to give outs to bestow creatures, but there happened to destroy a creature enchantment on an indestructible creature, and that gave John just enough breathing room to take over the game.
Well, game number 3 will be underway here in just a moment between Sukenik and Anderson, 2 players, again, who did top 8 our first Modern Open in Baltimore during Season 1. But now we take a look at Season 4 on the Open Series and see the dates that are coming, and we're going to kick it off in Cincinnati.
Yeah, this is right after the Season 3 Invitational in New Jersey. We go to Cincinnati for a Modern Open Series event, then back to Worcester for Standard Open Series, Milwaukee, then to Indianapolis, October 3rd and 4th. After that, we head to Atlanta, a Legacy Open in St. Louis, a Modern Open Series event in Dallas, back to Philadelphia for a Standard Open Series. After that, we have a sealed Grand Prix in Atlanta. We'll have more information about that event as we get a little bit closer. Standard in KC, a Legacy Open Series event back in New Jersey. Standard for the first time in many a moon, December 5th through 6th. After that, we go to Las Vegas for the Season 4 Invitational. Standard and Modern as the Invitational format with a 2-day, $20,000 Standard Open Series event. And then the Players' Championship at Roanoke, Virginia at the Star City Games headquarters, December 19th and 20th.
Going to be a great set of tournaments all throughout Season 4. That'll wind us down through the year. And before you know it, this year will be over 2 and in the books. We're already in July. Geez, August starts next Saturday. Boy, oh boy. Maybe we'll see one of these 2 players. I know Todd Anderson got close last year for the Players' Championship. Also got 9th in our Season 4 Invitational last year, too.
I would say Todd was never going full bore for trying to qualify for the Players' Championship. Definitely played in his Opens and his Invitationals, but he was never really going out of his way to try to qualify for the Players' Championship. I talked to him this year, and it sounds like he has not the same attitude, but a similar attitude. He's going to play in his tournaments. He's going to make some effort. He's not going to break his back trying to get there, but if it happens, he'd be thrilled, especially with Brad Nelson already qualified.
A lot of people approve of my idea with Hangerback Walker and Hangerback Girl. Just so that you know.
That means nothing to me.
Twitter likes my idea.
That means nothing to me.
What are you trying to say?
Because it's just people shouting into the abyss. We don't know who they are. It does not impact my decision making.
I think you should take Twitter a little more seriously, Patrick.
I take it plenty seriously, but that's what's up at the end of the day.
If you don't like what Patrick's saying right now, by the way, at Basic Mountain, you can tweet directly at him. Let him know.
I'll make sure to reflect on whatever you said.
Let him know.
I promise.
Yep. That's top priority.
I'm going to take it seriously, and I'm going to reflect on what I said.
Does First Strike interact in a positive way with the Thopter Spy network? Shiny Psyduck asks.
Don't know exactly how Thopter Spy Network is worded.
I think what you want to know is does no Double Strike. I think Double Strike is probably a better question.
Well,
maybe,
you
right?
could have whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So yes, this is good with First Strike.
So this is good with First Strike.
If you have 2 attacking artifact creatures, one has First Strike and one does not, you draw 2 cards.
Okay. All right.
So yes.
That's weird. Weird wording.
Well, that's the way they have to word it to make it so it's not triggering multiple times off of 5/1/1's attacking.
Sure.
The language is a little clunky, but that's how it's got to work.
Look at that Trailblazer. He's going to start it off. Todd going to search up a Plains with that Windswept Heath. And hostilities to draw here for Sukenik. As game number 3 is underway of round number 5. Sukenik up to 21 from the Tranquil Cove. We'll see what's next here for Anderson on turn number 2. Ordeal of Thassa the draw. Anderson will sacrifice a Flooded Strand. I think an island will be on the way here in just a moment, but we'll see. Todd playing just 1 island this weekend. 1 in the sideboard too, though, to help with Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, you can do that in the matchups where your Dromoka's commands are no good. So why is Todd enchanting and not attacking, you ask?
Love it.
Swift Justice.
Love it. Swift Reckoning.
Swift Reckoning, excuse
Okay.
me. Swift Reckoning.
And because he wants 4 cards, not 2.
Now, is it really risky? Was his play last turn, not the attacking part, but just enchanting and saying go, risky against Valorous Stance and Last Breath?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Todd is an aggressive player.
Decisive. Darksteel Citadel is land number 3 for Sukenik. There's Swift Reckoning. Bang. Johnny's presence. Swift Reckoning is destroy, not exile. That's important to note. Now look at that Trailblazer. 5/9. The biggest hangback walker I've ever seen.
You mean Trailblazer?
That too.
We've seen them bigger than 1/1. Tied for largest hangerback walker I've
correct.
ever seen with all the other ones.
That's correct. All right. A little bit bigger. 2 tokens left over. Follow-up is a Flooded Strand. Anderson might take the opportunity to resolve a Treasure Cruise here. Got a lot of cards in his hand already. There's basic planes.
I like kind of doing a mixture of the two. You know, something like add another threat to the table and Treasure Cruise this turn, I think is really nice.
There is a cruise. 3 cards coming here for Anderson in just a moment. The deck is firing on all cylinders this game, it appears. Monastery Mentor ×2. Temple of Enlightenment are the draws. Follow up. Trailblazer Numero Dos.
Like it.
04 City. Does Sukenik have land number 4? Is he going beatdowns?
With 1. He's not chump blocking the 0-4.
That 04 could become so much more.
I would be surprised to see a double chump block here.
There's a template.
Get your point in. Come on, John.
All right.
Like it. Typically safe to say no blocks against, you know, the creature with 0 power.
0 power right now. Like
Yeah,
I said.
But Todd trying to cast stuff into your open mana is pretty risky. I would get him for my point there.
Anderson going to untap. He'll draw. Picked up a copy of Defiant Strike. There is Defiant Strike. Manic Influence to draw. No land played yet here for Anderson. Has a copy of Jamoka's Command in hand as well. He's going to give it the beatdown.
A lot of lands in hand.
Yep. There's your chump block. There's a Temple. See where that top card goes here for Anderson. Stays on top. Back to Sukenik we're going to go. He'll draw a card. Darkstone Citadel is what he's found. He'll play one of them. He's got two in his hand. And there is End Hostilities. That'll mop it all up. You saw the no attack there from John because if End Hostilities does get countered, perhaps he wants to chump block.
Exactly.
So in that instance, it doesn't feel as though he missed a point of damage. Just playing it safe. Stratus Walker the draw for Anderson. A little late to the party. Take a look at the top card. It'll go on the bottom from Temple of Enlightenment Scry. And there is the Stratus Walker. Excuse me, Stratus Dancer. I apologize.
Stratus Walk is a card that occasionally appears in these decks.
Yes. It's got me all tongue-tied. Elspeth. In there. Problematic card. You mentioned Anderson does have a lot of lands in hand at this point. Got some pretty good spells too, though. I'll draw a card. Defiant Strike.
We've seen this deck go around even Elspeth sometimes with Monastery Mentor.
And that's where Anderson's going to start. I'm curious if he's going to play both Mentors here. It's pretty risky.
I think that exposes him too much to another End Hostilities. He can wait.
Yeah, he'll just pass the turn back.
You know, Elspeth is bad news for him, but he doesn't have to move just yet. Give himself a little bit of time.
Sukenik will play a Flooded Strand. Elspeth will move up to 6, which means 3 more soldiers on the way, and he'll just pass the turn back. Pretty simple turn there for Johnathan. Defiant Strike will target one of Sukenik's tokens, but that'll also trigger the Monastery Mentor. I'm drawing a card. Anderson's untapping. And he's drawing Battlewise Hoplite. He'll play that. Again, the big question is how much does he want to move here? How much does he want to extend? Can he play around a Wrath effect? He's always got to leave mana open for that Stratus Dancer. He has Jamoka's Command in hand, but it's not really doing very much right now.
I don't think he can really afford to do anything with the Stratus Dancer right now. I think holding tight right now is not the end of the world for him. He's just trying to set up a big turn where he can go around Elspeth altogether. Going to be challenging to do, but hopefully Johnathan cooperates, taps out for something large that Todd can hit with Stratus Dancer. Now you have a flying creature that can threaten Elspeth, and your prowess threats on the ground can do some work as well.
It's coming beatdowns. Some chump blocking to be done, it appears. And there are your blocks. Jamoka's Command. So things get really interesting here because Command has so many targets in this instance. And it looks like a +1/+1 counter is going to go on to the Morph. It looks like
Hoplite's going to fight one of the tokens that didn't block.
And Sukenik is going to sacrifice a Flooded Strand. Looks like he may have some interest in casting a Dissolve here. So you see the targets have been announced along with the modes. And I think we might see Sukenik try to cast the Dissolve, and then Anderson will un-Megamorph the Stratus Dancer. And what he's trying to do right now is just whittle away some of these annoying soldier tokens. Yep, there's your Unmorph.
And now Fated Retribution is not the end of the world for Todd.
Yep.
Because then Elspeth's gone.
Correct.
It's something.
And he's got a good card to rebuild with in Monastery Mentor in hand. So he's worked his way into a decent situation, but Sukenik is still in the lead right now, it feels. Nile on the draw, but you can see his hand right now, an Island, a Darksteel Citadel, and that Fated Retribution. So this game is really anyone's to take. It's hard to say who's in the lead right now. Anderson is on the board, but Sukenik got the powerful reset button.
The thing is, from this position, I'm not even sure that Johnathan's draws on average are better than Todd's.
Me either. This is a really smart play by Sukenik. Activate Elspeth, effect on the stack, cast Fated Retribution.
Yep. So this way you get the 3 tokens.
Yeah, and he gets the Scry too. And I think he just found another Elspeth. Both those cards stay on top very quickly.
I think one of them might have been Artificer's Epiphany.
Potentially.
And if he's got 9 mana, he's got 8 with a land in hand.
Citadel in hand.
Right, yeah. So he can cast both spells in next turn.
Will Anderson expose his Monastery Mentor this turn? He will not. Sukenik will draw. He knows exactly what's there. Artificer's Epiphany, draws 2 cards. One of them's an Elspeth. The other one's a Darksteel Citadel. Attack for 3. Play the Elspeth. Patience.
Wow.
I am very surprised by that.
Surprising, yep. Because it's only really Disdainful Stroke you're playing around, and he didn't Disdainful Stroke your Fated Retribution and had 2 mana left over. That seemed like a fine time to land Elspeth.
There's Temple of Plenty. Top card goes to the bottom. Anderson will play Monastery Mentor now. Sukenik can quickly untap and take a draw step here. There's a Banishing Light. That's going to resolve. Here's an attack for 3. Will he go for Elspeth now? Now he will. I think the thought process here is, if you didn't counter my Banishing Light, then you don't have a counter for my Elspeth. Yep, Anderson will show a God's willing. That's going to do it. Johnathan Sukenik's going to win this match here over Todd Anderson. 2-1. Blue Eye Control will take care of Bant Heroic, and Jeff Hoagland had a lot of success last weekend with this deck, and Johnathan Sukenik is doing the same.
Sweepers, Elspeth, spot removal, and some artifact blockers that muck up God's willing. It's a pretty good recipe for this matchup.